Welcome back to Biomes. This time we are talking about both the Dartmoor moorlands and Wistman's woods. Both of these biomes are within a very similar geographic location within Devon, England, in the United Kingdom. Now, they are pretty different biomes, but they are geographically quite close together and have a lot of overlap in flora and fauna, so we're going to be talking about both of them in this video. The Dartmoor moorlands are a rather diverse area of peat bogs and grasslands and a little bit of forested shrub areas that are some of the last remaining unindustrialized or agricultural areas within England, kind of because they just suck for agriculture. Like, nothing food crop-wise really grows well there. There is some cattle and sheep grazing, but overall it's not a great place for farming. Wistman's woods are a big wooded area that may be left over from the Neolithic era. It's very untouched, very wild, and both of these areas are protected under the National Park Service in England, or whatever the equivalent they have there. And like the moorlands, it is one of the very few untouched landscapes in England. There is a decent overlap of flora and other plant-ish life between the two areas, with many types of lichens, such as the horsehair lichen, as well as golden spot, brown cobblestone, and purple rock lichens. Similarly, there's a large overlap with mosses, including sphagnum moss, which can be found all over and is very important. The tree life in Wistman's woods is largely English oak and dwarf oak that make up the majority of the tree species found there, but there's also other trees in the area, such as rowan trees like this one and holly trees, and nut trees other than oak trees like this hazelnut tree, as well as a couple varieties of willow trees. Much of the ground cover of Wistman's woods are these bracken species, which also overlap into the moorlands. The bracken is found in both of these places. In the moorlands, there's a large variety of wildflowers, such as these heathers, the bell heathers, as well as western gorse, a type of bright yellow flowering plant, and a whole lot of grasses and sedges, including this one, the purple moorgrass, and many other types of small flowers, such as these guys, which are not clovers, but are in fact wood sorrel that have many culinary and medicinal uses. And in the more peat bog areas, there's again many types of moss and even carnivorous plants, such as the roundleaf sundew here, and another favorite of mine, the bog asphodel. A large majority of the animal species found in both the forests and the moorlands are birds, namely songbirds like the Eurasian skylark, as well as multiple species of warblers and snipes. There's also this guy, the stonechat bird, and even some birds that are rarer to see, such as the cuckoo, and this guy, the ring ouzel, which is a wonderful name, as well as a favorite of mine, the pied flycatcher, and the very cute meadow pipit. There are also a couple of larger birds, such as the rather small birds of prey like the hen harrier and the merlin hawks, and rarely, but still occasionally seen, short-eared owls. There are a couple of species of bats that are becoming increasingly more rare, such as this guy, the barbastel, and both the greater and lesser horseshoe bats, all three of which are very rare and becoming increasingly less common to see, plus there's multiple others of the UK's bat species living there, and other rodents such as the hazel dormouse. As for larger mammals, there are the European badgers, which can be seen on both the moorlands and in the forest, as well as the adorable Eurasian otters, which feast on the salmon and trout species that come through the multiple streams in the forest and moorlands as well. Occasionally deer, such as the fallow deer, can be seen in the areas, and while they are rare to see, they have no natural predators currently, since all of the local wolves were driven to extinction hundreds of years ago. However, there have been reports of the beast of Dartmoor, which have been described as a cryptid resembling a large cat. Multiple species of reptiles and amphibians can be found there. The common European adder is the most often spotted snake, and it is quite venomous. On the cuter side, we have multiple amphibian species such as the palmate newt and multiple other frog and toad species. And there's a large variety of invertebrates such as fairy shrimp that can be found in the temporary pools that form after a heavy rainfall. And this very bright blue damselfly, the southern damselfly, which makes it home in the bogs and moorlands. Many species of butterflies such as this guy, the marsh fritillary, as well as a couple other species of fritillary, including the pearl-bordered fritillary, and the absolutely gorgeous green hairstreak butterfly. There's many moth species, including the emperor moth, the endemic Heckman's pygmy moth, which is only found in this area, and the very convincing bumblebee mimic, the narrow-bordered bee hawk moth, the very interesting and accurately named blue ground beetle, and finally, the largest land slug in the world, the ash black land slug. Now, people, especially outside of England and the UK, don't often think of it as being very wild or biodiverse, but you can find pretty much anywhere in the world places that have been largely untouched by industrialization or any of that. You just have to look in the right places.